There are some people walking this earth who are not just ordinary, not just random, not just another name in the book of humanity. They are chosen. They are set apart. They are designed by God Himself to be signs in the world, and often their distinction is not hidden. It is marked upon them. The chosen one carries something on the left hand, not just a physical impression, but a spiritual reminder that heaven has laid claim over their life. Only 1 in a million will bear it, and those who do must never treat it as common. When God marks you, He is not decorating you. He is identifying you. The mark on the left hand is a seal, a divine fingerprint that says, you belong to me. You are set for purpose. You are not like the rest. The hand is the place of work, the instrument of creation, the channel of blessing. To be marked there is to be reminded that every act of your hand must reflect your divine assignment. You cannot touch what others touch and treat it the same. You cannot build what others build with the same casualness. Your hands have been consecrated. Many do not realize that chosen ones are often misunderstood because the sign they carry provokes attention, envy, or even opposition. People notice the difference, but they cannot explain it. The mark is not for them. It is for you. It is God's way of whispering to you daily, you are mine, and I have placed eternity in your very being. And while others may ignore their destiny, you cannot escape yours. For every time you lift your hand, the reminder is there. But hear me, being marked is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. It means you must live in alignment with heaven's agenda. It means you cannot waste your life in trivial pursuits. It means that when others chase shadows, you must pursue substance. To whom much is given, much is required, and the mark is evidence that you have been given much. The chosen one must also remember that rare signs attract rare battles. When you carry something only 1 in a million carry, you must also face challenges only 1 in a million will face. The mark draws spiritual warfare because darkness recognizes what heaven has placed upon you. Yet this should not make you afraid, it should make you aware. For the same God who marked you also covers you. The same God who set you apart will also sustain you. If you have such a mark, do not hide it in shame. Do not waste it in doubt. Do not let fear rob you of its purpose. Lift your left hand and declare, this hand is chosen, this life is consecrated, this destiny is unstoppable. For the mark is not an ornament, it is a covenant. You are 1 in a million, and the world is waiting for the manifestation of what God has placed within you. Every chosen one is set apart, not by accident, but by divine design. What looks ordinary in your life carries extraordinary meaning in the Spirit. When you come into the world, you may appear like every other child born into your family, but in the mind of God, you are not like the rest. You were separated long before you could walk, long before you could speak, long before you could even recognize your own name. Heaven already whispered over your life that you are different, you are marked, and you are purposed for something greater than yourself. This difference is often disguised in what others see as small or insignificant details. It might be the way you think, the way you dream, or the way you struggle to fit in when everyone else seems content with the ordinary. What is ordinary to others becomes extraordinary in your life because there is a higher meaning hidden beneath the surface. When God sets someone apart, He rarely announces it with thunder or flashes of light. Instead, He plants subtle signs that only the Spirit can interpret. You may carry a mark, a gift, a tendency, or an unusual experience that looks unimportant to the natural eye, but in the spiritual dimension, it is a sign that you have been stamped by the divine. Chosen ones often live with this quiet tension. On the outside, they appear human like everyone else, but inside, they feel a constant pull towards something higher. This pull is the evidence of design. It is not your imagination, it is not coincidence. It is the whisper of heaven reminding you that your ordinary shell contains extraordinary purpose. The danger comes when you mistake divine design for accident. Many chosen ones go through seasons of feeling unwanted, rejected, or misplaced. They ask questions like, why can't I just be like everyone else? Why do I see what others do not see? Why do I carry burdens that others do not even notice? What you must understand is that rejection is often God's way of protecting His investment in you. If you could blend in, you would lose the very distinction that makes you chosen. If you could be satisfied with mediocrity, you would abandon the call that demands your excellence. The feeling of being different is not a curse. It is evidence that your life has been separated for divine assignment. Every chosen one must recognize that what appears ordinary in their life is often loaded with hidden meaning. A scar on your hand, a dream you cannot shake, a habit of thinking deeply about matters others ignore, or even a struggle that seems to follow you could be the very tool God is using to remind you that your life is not random. What others mock, heaven magnifies. What others dismiss, God dignifies. The chosen live with these subtle reminders, and though the world may not understand, the spirit within you knows that every detail of your existence is tied to purpose. Divine design means nothing in your life is wasted. Even your mistakes, even your pain, even your disappointments are woven into the pattern of purpose. When you are chosen, setbacks are not final, they are redirections. Loss is not permanent, it is preparation. Every experience is permitted because it fits into the larger blueprint God has drawn for your life. That is why you cannot compare your journey with another's. What looks like failure in your story may be the very doorway to destiny. What looks like insignificance may be the platform upon which your true significance will be revealed. Chosen ones often wrestle with loneliness because being set apart means you cannot always travel in crowds. You cannot always share your dreams with everyone. You cannot always expect others to understand the weight you carry. But solitude should not be mistaken for abandonment. When God designs you, He ensures that your environment shapes you for your calling. Sometimes He removes voices so you can hear His voice. Sometimes He shuts doors so you can find the one door He prepared specifically for you. Every closed path is not rejection, but redirection toward your design. When you truly embrace that your difference is divine, you begin to see your life in a new light. You stop complaining about the weight you carry and start realizing it is a crown, not a burden. You stop hiding your uniqueness and start allowing it to shine as the very evidence that you were set apart for something higher. The chosen one learns to treasure even the things that others overlook because they recognize that in the kingdom of God, nothing is ordinary. Even the smallest detail carries eternal meaning. The physical mark or sign is not the power itself. It is simply a reminder that heaven has already stamped you for a higher assignment. Too many people confuse the symbol with the source, the outward appearance with the inward reality. When God allows a mark to rest upon you, it is not meant to be worshipped, glorified, or treated as the ultimate gift. It is merely a signal pointing you back to the one who chose you before time began. The mark carries no strength of its own. It is like the seal on a letter, valuable not because of the wax, but because of the authority that placed it there. If you look at the mark and forget the maker, you miss its purpose entirely. Every chosen one must understand that heaven never wastes a sign. If a visible distinction has been placed on your hand, your life, or your journey, it is heaven's way of confirming what has already been decreed in the unseen realm. The world looks at the surface, but God works in the unseen. He marks you outwardly to remind you of what has already been finished inwardly. The assignment existed before the sign. The calling was written before the mark ever appeared. The sign is simply the echo of what God already decided about you before you took your first breath. The great danger for many is to idolize the sign and forget the assignment. People may admire the mark, people may envy it, people may even despise it, but none of their reactions change the truth that it is not the mark that carries power. It is heaven's claim upon you that carries the weight. A chosen one cannot reduce their life to proving the mark to others or trying to explain its meaning to those who are spiritually blind. The true essence is in living out the assignment, walking in the purpose, and manifesting the destiny for which the mark serves only as a reminder. Think of how easily people can miss this. Some will spend years looking at the sign in their life, asking what it means, admiring its uniqueness, or hiding it in shame, when the reality is that the sign is not the end, it is the beginning. The mark is like a compass, pointing you to where your energy, focus, and obedience must go. It is not meant to keep you staring at your hand, but to lift your eyes toward heaven's call. The chosen must never allow the outward evidence to distract them from the inward reality. The treasure is not in the sign, but in the spirit that the sign points to. And yet the mark is necessary. Why? Because human beings are quick to forget. In the pressure of life, in the noise of daily struggles, it is easy to doubt whether you are really chosen, whether you are truly set apart. The mark becomes heaven's gentle reminder every time you feel ordinary, every time you are tempted to question your identity. When you lift your left hand and see it, it is as if God whispers again, "I have not forgotten you. I have stamped you. You are mine." This reminder is not for pride but for reassurance, not for arrogance but for accountability. The chosen are constantly reminded that their life is not their own, and the mark serves as a visible call back to alignment. But make no mistake, the mark comes with weight. It means you cannot live recklessly. It means you cannot handle your hands as if they were common. If the hand is the place of work, Then the mark reminds you that every action, every deed, every touch must reflect your assignment. When you carry the seal of heaven, what you do with your hands matters in eternity. You may be tempted to misuse your gift, to waste your time, or to follow the crowd, but the mark demands discipline. It demands integrity. It demands that you rise above what is convenient to fulfill what is commanded. The mark is also a sign to the spiritual realm. Darkness recognizes it even when people do not. The enemy knows who is stamped, who has been claimed, who is set apart. This is why chosen ones often face battles that others cannot explain. They wonder why opposition rises against them when they have done nothing to deserve it. The truth is that the mark has declared war long before the battle even begins. It announces to both heaven and hell that you belong to the kingdom, and because of that, you cannot live a neutral life. You are claimed, and with that claim comes responsibility and resistance. So when you look at the mark, never see it as the source of your strength. See it as the reminder of your covenant. It is not the mark that makes you powerful, it is the one who placed it upon you. The sign is only a shadow of the substance. Your confidence must never rest in what is visible, but in what is eternal. For the true power of a chosen one does not flow from the mark on their hand, but from the purpose in their spirit that the mark constantly calls them back to. Being chosen is never about comfort, but about calling. You were born to carry weight others cannot bear. Many imagine that to be chosen by God means a life of ease, favor without friction, blessings without burden, and recognition without responsibility. But the truth is the opposite. To be chosen is to be set apart for a task that will stretch you, test you, and sometimes even break you in order to reveal what has been placed inside of you. Comfort is not the measure of your chosenness. If anything, discomfort is the evidence that you are walking in destiny. You were not selected to sit quietly in the background of life. You were handpicked to step into an assignment that requires a level of strength and resilience uncommon to those around you. From the very beginning, God has never chosen people because they were seeking an easy path. He chose them because He had already measured their capacity to carry weight. Think about it. Why would heaven invest in you if your shoulders were not designed to handle the load? The calling is never light, yet it is never without grace. You are given more not because you deserve more, but because you were created to manage more. This is why some of the very things that crush others only shape you. What breaks others only builds you. You have been built with the capacity to endure what many cannot even imagine, and that capacity itself is the signature of your calling. Being chosen means you must live with a higher standard. While others can cut corners, you cannot. While others can waste time, you must redeem it. While others can indulge in distractions, you must stay focused. This is the cost of carrying destiny. The calling demands that you sacrifice comforts most people never think twice about. It demands sleepless nights of preparation, seasons of solitude where no one understands you, and days of silence where you cannot explain yourself to those who question your path. The chosen life is not for those who seek applause, but for those who can endure obscurity while heaven trains their spirit. When God places a calling upon you, He also allows pressure to mold you. Diamonds are not formed in comfortable places. They are born in the fire, under pressure, in conditions that ordinary stones cannot survive. You are no different. The chosen one is refined in fire, and every season of discomfort is designed to shape the character needed to sustain the assignment. If comfort were the goal, there would be no chosen. But because calling is the priority, you are taken through valleys, storms, and deserts that prepare you for platforms greater than you ever imagined. These seasons are not punishments, they are training grounds. They are the invisible classrooms where your destiny is prepared in silence before it is revealed in glory. It is important to understand that chosen ones are often misunderstood because their struggles look unfair. Others wonder why so much weight falls upon their shoulders, why so many responsibilities rest upon their life, why they seem to carry more than their share of pain. But the truth is, the weight is not random. It is measured. Heaven never gives you more than you are designed to bear, and the burden is proof of your capacity. You would not be carrying it if you were not chosen to handle it. What others see as suffering, heaven sees as stewardship. You are entrusted with the weight because you have been created with the strength to endure it. This does not mean the chosen life is without reward. In fact, the greatest fulfillment you will ever know will not come from comfort, but from obedience. There is a joy that only those who walk in calling can understand. It is the joy of knowing that your struggles are not wasted, your tears are not forgotten, and your sacrifices are not in vain. Comfort may satisfy for a moment, but calling satisfies for a lifetime. To live chosen is to live with meaning, and meaning is worth far more than ease. So, when you find yourself in situations that demand more from you than you thought you had, remember this: you were not born for comfort, you were born for calling. You were not chosen to avoid the weight, but to carry it with grace. Every burden you bear, every challenge you endure, every sacrifice you make is shaping you for the assignment heaven placed upon you. Comfort comes and goes, but calling is eternal. And though the chosen path is heavy, it is the only path that leads to destiny. The difference between those who walk in destiny and those who waste it lies in understanding the significance of the mark placed upon them. Many people receive signs, impressions, or divine confirmations throughout their lives, but not everyone has the wisdom to interpret them. The chosen ones are not special because the mark itself makes them great. They are special because they recognize what the mark represents and adjust their lives accordingly. Destiny is not automatic. It requires awareness. You cannot fulfill what you do not understand, and you cannot honor what you fail to acknowledge. The line that separates those who rise into their calling and those who fall into mediocrity is not the presence of the mark, but the ability to discern its meaning. Far too often, people carry divine evidence on their lives without ever realizing it. They think the unusual traits they have are coincidences. They treat their unique experiences as accidents. They see their separation from the crowd as a disadvantage. But chosen ones who step into destiny realize that none of these things are random. They know that the details others overlook are actually the fingerprints of God on their journey. This recognition is what gives power to the mark. Without understanding, the mark is just another sign. With understanding, the mark becomes the anchor that keeps you aligned with purpose. Understanding the mark is also about accepting responsibility. Some people see the uniqueness of their life and try to use it for selfish gain, turning the sign of heaven into a tool of pride. They boast about being different. They exalt themselves for being set apart, but they miss the truth that the mark was not given for ego, it was given for service. To walk in destiny, you must see the mark not as a decoration but as a declaration. It declares that you belong to a higher authority, that your life is not your own, and that your decisions must be governed by the one who marked you. Those who ignore this truth waste the very gift that was meant to elevate them. Every mark has meaning, and meaning demands management. To recognize that you are stamped by heaven means you cannot live recklessly. It means you cannot treat your time, your relationships, or your opportunities carelessly. When you understand the significance of the mark, you begin to realize that your life is sacred ground. What you allow into your spirit matters. What you touch with your hands matters. Where you walk matters. The chosen who fulfill destiny are those who live with this constant awareness that they are under assignment. Their choices are not random, they are intentional, because they know their life is not theirs to waste. The tragedy is that many ignore the mark. They spend years running from the evidence that they are chosen. They deny the pull they feel in their spirit, silencing it with distractions and temporary pleasures. They surround themselves with people who encourage them to forget who they are, trying to bury the sign under layers of compromise. But no matter how far they run, the mark remains. The call of destiny does not disappear simply because you refuse to acknowledge it. The difference is that some eventually awaken to its significance, while others spend their entire lives avoiding it. Those who walk in destiny are not always the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. They are the ones who choose to acknowledge the mark and surrender to what it represents. Understanding the mark also means interpreting your struggles differently. What others call bad luck, the chosen recognize as refinement. What others see as unfair, they recognize as preparation. The mark shifts your perspective so that you no longer complain about what you carry, but embrace it as part of the design. The chosen who step into destiny see even their hardships as evidence that they are on course. They realize that opposition comes not to destroy them, but to prove the strength of what has been placed within them. Without this understanding, trials feel meaningless. With it, trials become milestones on the road to purpose. And perhaps the most critical aspect of understanding the mark is faith. Faith is what allows you to believe that the sign on your life is not empty but pregnant with promise. It is what empowers you to trust that even when you cannot see the full picture, the mark is proof that heaven has already written the story. Those who waste their destiny often lack this faith. They doubt the sign, they second-guess their difference, and they let fear rob them of their confidence. But those who fulfill destiny hold fast to their faith, allowing the mark to become a constant reminder that God has not forgotten them, that He has not abandoned them, and that their path, though difficult, is divinely ordered. Favor will often look like isolation, because what is rare cannot blend with what is common. Your uniqueness is your greatest evidence of divine election. Many chosen ones do not realize that the very thing that separates them from the crowd is also the very thing that confirms their destiny. The world rewards conformity, but heaven rewards distinction. When you carry a calling, when you bear a mark, when you are set apart, you will inevitably find that few around you can understand your path. Friends may drift away, colleagues may envy you, family members may question your choices, and yet this separation is not punishment, it is preparation. Favor does not always come with applause. It often comes with solitude, because what is meant for greatness cannot always travel with the ordinary. The chosen life is lonely not because God is absent, but because He is intentional. You were designed to operate on a frequency that most cannot detect. The very things that excite others may bore you. The things that distract others may tempt you. Heaven understands that if the chosen mingled too freely with the crowd, the calling would be diluted, the vision compromised, and the assignment delayed. Favor works in mysterious ways. It does not always look like wealth, promotion, or recognition in the natural realm. Sometimes favor manifests as opportunities to be alone with God, to hear His voice clearly, and to strengthen your spirit in ways the masses cannot. The isolation of favor is training, it is not rejection. Many people fear being different because they confuse it with being alone. They see the absence of immediate acceptance as a sign of failure, when in reality isolation is the first indicator of distinction. The chosen are set apart precisely because their lives are too valuable to be shaped by the ordinary. If everyone around you is comfortable in mediocrity, you cannot afford the same comfort. If everyone is content with the ordinary, you cannot settle for the ordinary. Your difference, your uniqueness, and even your challenges are proof that you are marked for a higher purpose. Favor does not blend, it stands out. And because it stands out, it may appear lonely. The rare cannot always find companionship among the common, but this should be celebrated rather than lamented. The very fact that few understand you means that you are traveling a road not meant for everyone. Those who walk in destiny often face misunderstanding, criticism, or even mockery. People may question why you pursue what they cannot see, why you persevere when others quit, or why you sacrifice comforts for invisible rewards. But every season of misunderstanding is evidence that you are aligned with heaven's design. The chosen one is never defined by the applause of men, but by the acknowledgement of God. Isolation in favor is not an absence of blessing, it is the presence of preparation. Furthermore, isolation refines your character. When you are separated from the crowd, you are forced to confront your own heart, to wrestle with your faith, and to strengthen your vision. The crowd often offers compromise and comfort. Isolation demands discipline and clarity. The chosen learn to rely on God's voice rather than human approval, to trust His timing rather than societal standards, and to pursue excellence rather than acceptance. Favor works invisibly, teaching you endurance, patience, and obedience in ways the ordinary never experiences. The hand that carries the mark must also carry the strength to walk alone, because the assignment is too sacred to be shared lightly. Isolation also protects the anointing that rests upon you. When greatness is too visible too soon, it attracts interference, envy, and distraction. The rare cannot be rushed, and heaven knows this. The very solitude that feels lonely is often a shield, giving you space to grow, to learn, and to prepare for the responsibility that comes with distinction. Those who do not understand this may see your isolation and call it a curse, but the chosen recognize it as favor in disguise. What looks like separation is actually alignment. What feels like loneliness is actually preparation for impact. Favor will always appear rare because it is rare, and rarity invites scrutiny, doubt, and even resistance. But this is the evidence that you are chosen. Your uniqueness is not an accident. Your differences are not mistakes. They are the divine signatures of a life that has been set apart. Embrace the isolation, understand its purpose, and let it strengthen you rather than discourage you. The hand that carries the mark, the heart that carries the vision, and the spirit that carries the calling must all be prepared to stand alone, because the path of distinction cannot be crowded by the ordinary. To be marked is to be accountable, because heaven does not give signs without purpose. Your responsibility is to respond to the call that the mark represents. Many people carry gifts, opportunities, and distinctions without ever realizing that they are under obligation to use them wisely. The mark is not a badge of privilege meant to elevate you above others for selfish gain, It is a seal of responsibility that demands action. It is a call to live with integrity, to steward the resources, talents, and opportunities placed in your hands, and to fulfill the assignment that accompanies your unique position. When heaven stamps you, it does so with the expectation that you will honor what has been entrusted to you. Accountability begins with awareness. The chosen one must recognize that nothing about their life is accidental. Every encounter, every challenge, every gift is intentional and has been designed for a purpose. To ignore this is to ignore destiny itself. When you are marked, you are held to a higher standard because heaven trusts you with more than it trusts most. That trust is not a burden to discourage you. It is an honor that confirms your ability to rise above the ordinary. The moment you acknowledge that you are accountable, you begin to operate from a place of responsibility rather than entitlement. The mark is not a privilege to boast about, it is a duty to fulfill. Many fail to understand that responsibility is a measure of greatness. The greater the calling, the greater the weight, and the greater the accountability. To be marked is to be chosen for a task that cannot be delegated to the unprepared or unworthy. The world may admire the mark, but admiration alone does not release the obligation that comes with it. You must walk in the calling, speak the vision, and act in accordance with the purpose stamped upon you. Every action you take, every decision you make, reflects the stewardship of the mark. Accountability is what differentiates those who maximize their destiny from those who squander it. The responsibility of the mark also extends to influence. Being marked sets you apart in such a way that others will naturally look to you for guidance, inspiration, or direction. Your life becomes a testament, whether you intend it to or not. People will watch how you carry yourself, how you respond to challenges, and how you handle success and failure. The mark communicates even silently that you are under authority, and with authority comes the responsibility to lead with wisdom, integrity, and humility. You cannot live selfishly and expect to honor what heaven has entrusted to you. Your life is public even when you seek privacy, because the mark carries a visible weight in both the natural and spiritual realms. Responsibility also requires discipline. A marked life cannot be haphazard. It cannot be lived in indulgence, laziness, or careless abandon. The mark is a daily reminder that every moment, every choice, and every relationship matters. You are accountable for how you invest your time, your energy, and your talents. The ordinary person can waste a day or a resource without consequence. The chosen one cannot. Heaven measures your faithfulness in the small things before entrusting you with greater assignments. This accountability cultivates character, refines vision, and ensures that when opportunity arises, you are ready to carry it without compromise. Furthermore, the mark demands obedience. It is one thing to know you are chosen. It is another to consistently respond to the calling. Signs without action are meaningless. The mark is a visual and spiritual prompt to align your life with divine instructions, to walk in purpose, and to manifest the destiny already written in heaven. Those who fail to respond become stagnant, frustrated, or misguided, while those who honor the accountability move with clarity, confidence, and divine support. The mark is not passive, it is active. It is a living reminder that you have been entrusted, and heaven expects a faithful response. Being accountable also means embracing the consequences of your actions. Every choice carries weight, because the mark indicates that your life is under authority. When you act contrary to purpose, the consequences are greater than for those without the mark. This is not punishment but natural law. The more entrusted to you, the more responsibility you must exercise. The chosen one cannot be careless with words, decisions, or relationships, because the mark amplifies the significance of everything under their stewardship. Accountability ensures that the calling remains intact, that the vision progresses, and that the destiny unfolds according to the plan of heaven. Finally, the mark is a constant reminder that your life is not yours alone. Every gift, every opportunity, every blessing is linked to a greater purpose that extends beyond personal gain. To be marked is to carry heaven's agenda in your hands, to be the steward of what others cannot manage, and to exemplify the responsibility that comes with distinction. Those who understand this live deliberately, move intentionally, and honor the mark in everything they do. And now, chosen one, hear this clearly: you are not here by chance, and nothing about your life is accidental. The mark upon you is a declaration from heaven that you have been set apart for greatness. It is evidence that you are called to walk a path few will understand, to carry a vision few will see, and to fulfill a destiny that has been waiting for you since the foundation of the world. Do not shrink back in fear. Do not allow doubt to whisper lies into your mind. Stand boldly, for the hand that carries the mark also carries authority, purpose, and divine favor. Your life is no longer ordinary, it is extraordinary. Your path is not ordinary, it is divine. Every trial you face, every season of isolation, every burden placed upon you has been designed to strengthen you, to refine you, and to prepare you to walk fully into the assignment that heaven has entrusted to you. Remember that the mark is not the power, it is the reminder of the power within you, the power of your calling, the power of a life fully aligned with purpose. From this moment forward, live deliberately. Every choice, every action, every word must reflect the destiny stamped upon you. Let your uniqueness shine even when it isolates you. Let your calling guide you, even when the path is difficult. Let your faith sustain you, even when the world doubts your vision. You were chosen not to blend in, not to follow, but to lead, to manifest, and to reveal the extraordinary potential of a life touched by heaven. Stand now not in fear, but in understanding. Hold high the mark of your destiny, for it is the symbol of God's investment in you. The world may question it, challenge it, or fail to understand it. But you, chosen one, know its meaning. You are set apart. You are empowered. You are responsible. Heaven has spoken, and the time has come for you to rise, to walk boldly, and to live fully in the purpose for which you were created. The hand that bears the mark carries the world of possibilities. The spirit that embraces it carries authority over every obstacle. The life that acknowledges it carries fulfillment that no one can take away. You are chosen. You are marked. You are accountable. And the destiny of your life will not be ordinary, because you were never made to live an ordinary life.